It's the Call Flo Radio Show, and you're on the air.
Ooh-wee. I guess it's time to breathe sometime this morning. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm going by the name Lars today. Okay, I've announced it, and I'd appreciate it if you'd call me
anything you say, Aloysius.
Lars Lair. That was one of my gamer tags when I was.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. My big gamer tag though is Soul Wizard. Yes, I made my mark in Black Ops 3. I did. Mm-hmm. I was a prestige master.
Be a good name if you had a disco show.
Yeah.
Soul Wizard.
I think it's a brilliant name.
Soul Wizard.
I tried naming my album after that once. I've probably released my songs like 5 different times.
There's a show for you. You need to be doing disco.
I love disco,
That's why I think you should do it.
Although hip-hop and disco are about the same idea nowadays.
Yeah,
you
could maybe do a mix match.
Something to dance to, and I don't really care. Although there is some kind of dance music that's just a beat, I have to have some kind of tonality in there. It helps me move my appendages accordingly to the tonality. So you were reading the Farmville Herald. It looked like there was
pondering it. Yeah.
There was an article about Fran in there today.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, what's up?
It's basically notifying that he is retiring from the board of the hospital. For 17 years he served, and that would be Centra Southside Community Hospital. Of course, he was on the board of directors, and he's stepping down. It has a nice picture of him inside.
Oh, cool.
So,
yeah, they had a ceremony or something like that about a month ago, I think, to honor him. Yeah. And that was good. And Chris isn't here today. They had a few more appointments they needed to get to this morning. Mm-hmm. So she'll be back tomorrow, though. If things permit, that would be great. So, did you have a nickname when you were a kid?
John 3.
Seriously, they just call you. Who called you that?
That was my dad's nickname for me.
At least it wasn't just 3. Hey, 3.
So
come on.
I beat John 5.
Oh.
I was John 3 way before he was John 5.
I see. Oh my! Yeah.
And for those that do not know who John 5 is, he's a guitar player. John Lowry is his real name, if I recall.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did they call him 5 then?
I don't know. I don't know what that was for.
Jackson 5?
I guess I don't. He probably called himself that on his own. I want to say he's younger than I am, but maybe not by much.
Okay.
He got his start playing with David Lee Roth in the later years, David's solo years, about 90. If I had to put a guess on it, 98.
You said a guitar player?
Yes. Good guitar player.
Yeah, I guess
really good.
With Eddie Van Halen? You said Van Halen?
Well, he played with Dave.
Okay.
When Dave was solo.
Gotcha.
In the later years, about 98, I want to say. And he was John Lowry at that point. And then after that album, even though the album wasn't a commercial success, musicians must have heard it, because then he ended up with Marilyn Manson or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, and then ever since then, everybody knows who he is.
What do you think about Marilyn Manson? Anyway, he's kind of a controversial.
To me, he was the updated version of Alice Cooper and all those guys.
It was a hype. It was just, and he is a little odd. You can just look at him and go, okay, but I don't know. He was on Californication. And
there's nothing new under the sun. You know what I mean? Eventually, something gets rehashed for the later years.
Right.
It's like, they're doing this. Oh, they're doing. If you're around long enough, you can point at stuff and go, "Oh, I've seen this before." It's just it's a new take on something already done.
It's more and more difficult these days, I think, to make something that's unique and original. That's why I'm impressed with Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, how they keep writing songs. They aren't necessarily all that original.
Well, Taylor's key to success is just keep getting boyfriends and then dumping them or whatever, and then she has plenty of material to write about.
Whatever works for you. Oh, yes. we are the Call Flo Show.
She's a 30-something-year-old person acting like she's still 16 or 18.
Is she 30? I thought she was older than that.
She probably is.
Yeah.
But I'm joking about for like the last some odd years when she was 30-something, she was still doing.
Well, I saw her in concert. She's flying across the stadium.
Is she?
Yeah, I was like, holy cow.
I got to meet her.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
At one of those concerts, like a meet and greet.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How many of those did you go to?
All together, I don't know. But being in the country radio thing, more often than not, I ended up having to go to certain shows.
How was she? I mean,
she was real nice. I mean, regardless of I mean, she's very tall.
Did you ask her out?
No, I did not.
She was looking for another boyfriend.
I'm sure she was, but I don't think I fit the bill. But I did ask her to scrunch down because she is so tall.
Hey, get down here.
When we took a photo, I said, you know, like when you do for the little kids when you kind of scrunch down, you do that for me.
Yeah.
Sarah Evans,
I bet you made her laugh, didn't you?
She did laugh at that, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she laughed.
And by the way, those people out there, John has new glasses, and they look absolutely fantastic on him. I swear, it does. You know, some people don't look good in glasses, but
I didn't think I would.
Yeah,
I still don't think so.
They work on you. Well, they make you look smart. So,
Pretty true.
Yeah, all you need is a cigar pipe or a...
What are we doing today?
No, that was good. And you can see a lot better then, huh?
Yeah, it's like having new eyes. It's like...
That's cool.
But it's basically anything small print now is actually legible.
That's awesome.
Whereas before it was like,
Yeah, I remember looking at you, and you're up against the screen. You know, you're like 4 inches away. I'm like, dude, you're going to get radiation. Stop that. I was actually reading some of the Farmville Herald myself, and there was a story about a guy in Arizona bought a house, and he found like a bunker in the backyard.
Really?
No big deal. I mean, okay, that's cool. But it took him, I swear.
It wasn't a cellar, it was a bunker?
I cannot stand it when they do this. They tell you part of the story, and then they tell you part of the story again, and then they just try to build it up, and they just won't tell you what he actually found, and it's like each detail. Oh, then he had another shovel of dirt, and I guess they're
always
just
leave them wanting more.
Need to fill some pages, I guess. But they do that on videos nowadays too. It's you'll sit there for 15 minutes to figure out or see the disaster you know is coming, and what's worse is when they don't show the disaster itself. So.
Yeah.
So, have you had any other jobs besides radio?
For a brief stint, I worked at my dad's insurance office.
Oh, yeah.
And that was, needless to say, not... it wasn't my thing.
Not conducive to peace and harmony.
I'm not much on the public, if you will. And people that go into the insurance office to pay their bills, let's just say they're not in the best of moods. And they take it out on people like me, and I'm like behind the desk, and I'm going, I have nothing to do with this whole setup.
No.
If you want to get frustrated at somebody, go to the head office or something. I got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it's... I had a thought.
I think they think I'm pocketing the money as soon as they hand it over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the jobs that Alicia did was claims adjustment from insurance.
Oh, okay.
And those people, she said, are like really kind of crazy. Their house just blew away, and of course they're in trauma, and she's got to try to make it good for them. And it's got to be. I think it's got to be one of the hardest, worst jobs to kind of have to do.
And I sort of just did it. I was in a break there, about a 3-year break from radio, and that's what I was doing to fill the time. And it was just one of those things where I would like to have just chilled and not done much of anything, but I guess for my well-being, I should have been doing something. So I did.
I can't imagine you not doing anything, honestly.
Well, at that point, I was so wiped out from what I'd gone through. That I could have used the break. But anyway, but anyway, in the midst of that, I got the itch back to get it back into radio. Yeah. And so I did, and it grew slowly. I started working at a station that was close to home part-time, and then I started to realize I was liking it more and more, and they wanted me to be more involved, so it just sort of worked out, and
I'm kind of a jack of all trades, master of none.
I've noticed that about you.
But I think you've mastered the radio. I mean, you are radio is what I kind of
I never foresaw that as a kid, but it makes sense because I was around it all my life.
It does.
As far back as I can remember.
Right.
But I didn't realize it was having its hold on me in those early stages.
Daddy.
I just thought it was a neat thing.
Daddy, can I go with you to work, please?
Is that how it was for you, Larry? No, your other left hand, son.
My dad used to say that to me all the time. No, your other left. Your other left. So I've got a little bit
Larry
of dyslexia.
shared that story with me this morning. I found it very hilarious.
I know. You say one thing to John and you're never going to live it down, that's for sure.
Especially if I find it funny.
Yeah. Yeah, there's never a dull moment with John.
Sorry.
No, it's quite all right. I'd rather you laugh than be mad. So, hey.
I'm hardly ever mad.
You're mad all the time when you talk about it. I hear you mumbling on your breath. It's
like the Tasmanian devil. Pretty much. If I could only spin around like he does.
Yeah, really. Okay. We'd love to talk to some people out there and see what they got going on.
Spill the beans.
434-394-0924. Yeah, we'd be more than happy to talk to you this morning. So did you have like a dream job you wanted to do when you were growing up?
Oh, I wanted to do something in entertainment, whether it be... Well, the first thing I ever wanted to do was be a comic book artist.
Oh, cool.
So I drew all the time when I was younger. That's what I thought I was going to do. Uh-huh. If you'd have asked me as a kid, what are you going to do? I'm going to draw comic books, or I'm going to do animation, or I'm going to do something. And then somewhere along the way I realized how tough that actually is.
Oh, yeah.
Drawing for yourself for the fun of it is a lot different than having to meet deadlines and commitments.
Those deadlines and commitments just ruin everything.
And there's a lot more to drawing than just drawing figures. You got to do all that perspective stuff, which I'd never found that interesting.
Okay.
I don't like drawing lands, cityscapes and all that. There's no fun in that. You got to have it though. And so there's a need for it, but
I want to see a cartoon without it. Just,
yeah.
Oh, wow, bam.
I mean, once in a while you might see a background where there's nothing, but more often than not, especially a comic book, you got to have the city landscape. You got to put the characters
right, and
the perspectives need to be right. Otherwise, it looks like they're floating.
Well, nowadays you could just generate that background.
True,
but I'm sure
early back in the day, you had to draw that stuff.
Back in what, the 80s, 90s, or
yeah. So, which is when I was coming up in the 80s, but by the time I could have gone maybe somewhere to do something, it would have been the 90s.
Right. Do you think it's ever too late to start a new career? Or,
I don't guess so. It depends on what it is, obviously.
True. I'm not going to be a gymnast anytime soon.
I'd say my military career is pretty much shot.
Yeah, my pitching days are over. It goes downhill fast at my age.
If it's things that use intellect more, then I guess you could probably do that at any point if you wanted to.
Yeah, this is probably about my 5th or 6th career, actually. So I've done all kinds of stuff. How many jobs have you had over the days, years, months?
Oh, I don't know. Not counting if we're going to say, even though I've had multiple different radio jobs.
No, each one of those would count,
suffice. Okay, all right. Well, let's see. There's Flo, and there's that one, and then there's I've been back and forth between at least maybe 5, maybe more stations. If you count Flo I've worked at Flo twice 3 times technically, if you want to count this era of Flo.
WFLO, you're on the air.
Good morning. Thank you. How are you?
We're doing good. How about yourself?
Good. I'm okay, thanks. Hey, I haven't heard you in a few days. I've been away. Did anybody talk about the article in the Herald with Francis Wood retiring from the hospital board?
Yes,
good. You covered that.
Yeah,
okay. I'm glad.
And then there was the other article in there. I think it was the electoral seat remains vacant. That whole piece of the puzzle. Did you?
Yes, it gets thicker and thicker.
Well, yeah, I found it interesting. It's really tough because politics is so hard. And the reason politics are hard these days is because everybody's pointing at somebody else and blaming them for, their woes and stuff. So I was glad to sort of hear this article about, that's not acceptable anymore, So that's kind of what I took out of that. And how about yourself?
Good. Well, if we can act like it, that'll be good. Words come fast, and now actions need to follow.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I'd like that.
There's in all kinds of ways, huh? Oh, my.
Yeah.
So what are you doing this weekend for Memorial Day?
There are a couple May birthdays in the family that we're going to celebrate on Sunday, but I hear it's going to rain. We have a picnic planned, so... I love the rain, so I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's heavy rain coming around.
Yeah.
It's just likely going to sprinkle everything for a long time. That's the problem. Yeah.
Well, if it's not cold, I guess we can be grateful.
Absolutely. Yeah, I enjoy the rain, too. I enjoy it better when I'm in Hawaii, but, I will still take the rain.
Okay. Well, thanks for all you're doing and for paying attention.
Well, thank you for calling. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye-bye. Cool. That was good, yeah. Honoring Sir Woods that would be great. Sir Woods. Doesn't that sound good?
Yeah.
Like he should be knighted or something. He's that kind of guy.
Right up there.
Sir Lancelot, I loved the
Marcus of Queensberry Road.
Did you like Camelot and that whole King Arthur thing?
As far as movies and stuff?
Well, yeah, and in general, did it resonate with you?
A little bit. I mean, there's that movie from the 80s. What was it called? Excalibur. Do you remember that film?
Oh, yeah. I thought that was well done.
Very well done movie.
Well acted, well directed.
And it looks awesome. Whoever filmed that had a great sense of lighting or something. It just... The armor just really...
I just had a thought. Whoever did that complete thing, I know I could look it up, and the brilliance that they did it in, it was so good that I think it's been difficult to make another Camelot Excalibur movie. So I'm thinking they should put those people, and they should make a Batman film so that it's the end of Batman films. Just saying. Anyway...
Well, but going back to the other one, the Camelot thing, I even somewhat enjoyed that one that had Richard Gere and Sean Connery, and he was Arthur, right?
I think so.
And which he might have been a little too old to be Arthur, but he was Arthur nonetheless. And I'm not a big Richard Gere guy, but the movie I like that movie, even though there was no Merlin in it.
And that's sad. I mean, Merlin's such a fantastic character.
It's almost like without the mysticism or whatever I'm trying to... There's the magic and all that sort of stuff is kind of left out of that story. But the story in that movie wasn't that bad. I thought that was pretty good. But
maybe they were trying to get some kind of realism, like this could be,
I think
historically.
it was because it was a later film. They were trying to maybe get away from that sort of stuff. I don't know, but that wasn't a terrible film. But Excalibur, I do remember liking that a lot as a kid.
Lady of the Lake.
Yep, with the sword. Yep.
Yeah, no, Camelot and all that stuff. I loved. I could eat that stuff up all day long. I've been searching for a sword forever. So
if you're asking me, do I like that? Yeah, but more in movie form. I never really read it.
Yeah.
Or anything. But I was aware of it even before that movie, I guess.
Yeah. There's a renaissance. I know it's loosely related to it, but there's a Renaissance fair going on right now.
Where at?
Somewhere in Virginia. I thought I knew where it was, but it's somewhere.
Okay.
It's
somewhere.
No, I think it's close. I think it's close by. And the whole thing was I was going to ask you if you had been there. So obviously
I've never been to one. I've seen them portrayed on film and or in TV shows. It looks neat. It's basically like what they do with the Civil War stuff. It's reenactment type stuff.
Yeah.
In a way. Because don't they do jousting and stuff at some of them?
Yeah, they don't follow any type of story, of course.
Right.
But, you know, they get to make it up. My dad loved those things, man. He'd
Renaissance
take
festivals?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He was a guitar player. He was his main instruments were piano and flute, and he always had these recorders and stuff, you know, for us. Oh, yeah, he loved dressing
So he'd go
up.
around like Jethro Tull. And
Man, what's weird about that was I was in Seattle, Washington, by the Space Needle. We were just, hanging out, I don't know, 15 years or so. And there was a guy in the park playing Jethro Tull on his flute. And it was awesome. I just sat there for, I don't know how long.
Sitting on a park bench.
Yeah. I get the... No, officer, we're just kidding.
We're just at the Renaissance Festival. Don't worry about it.
No, and I've only been to one for a very short period of time, so I've kind of wanted to go, but he dressed up and
cool.
did the whole thing.
No, but I've never actually been to one, but I would it'd be cool to go to one.
It'd be great if somebody out there knew like where it was, and if they've been to it.
And pay Larry's ticket in. And
yeah, exactly. Give me a ride. I'd appreciate that. And the number is 434-394-0924. Yesterday I tried to get a golf cart. Nobody called me about a golf cart. I'm going to throw it out.
Are you a golfer?
I love to golf.
Really?
Absolutely.
I never would have thought that.
Oh, my, really?
Okay. I don't know why. I didn't.
I'm so good looking, though.
You know, I've heard talk that they are bringing back the old Longwood golf course.
Oh, Longwood.
I'm sorry, I say Longwood. Farmville Golf Course.
The airport.
Yes.
That would be awesome. I liked that course. I liked it a lot. It was for people like me who are hacks, you know, and I could take my son out there and Alicia, and we can, you know, take our time. They're both so funny. They're hilarious when they golf, and they're both very similar. They use the driver all the way down the fairway, one after another. But both of them are like perfectly straight. They just keep going. It's just not long, but it's you know, it's straight.
I'm a little funny on the location. I don't. Maybe I'm talking about a different one. But there's one. Uh-huh. There was one that used to be established that had stopped operating, and now they're thinking, or it's in the process of being brought back.
I think it is.
I think that's the same one. I don't know. I don't play, so I don't.
Have you ever hit it?
Not really. Unless you count putt-putt.
No.
This obstacle course here is
WFLO, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, guys. You're talking about jobs, and my first job was actually working at the Renaissance Festival.
No way.
What were you? What were you at the Renaissance Festival?
I was a wench.
I wasn't going to say it.
It's the truth. It's the truth. I was up in New York at the New York Renaissance Festival, and that was my first summer job for 4 years.
Oh, and how old were you?
It was 16,
okay.
15 going on.
Wow.
20.
Yeah, exactly. I hear that. And
but it was great because we camped up there and basically lived in the forest, like Robin Hood and his merry men, and there were weird people. I mean, they have these people called the Mud Men, and they do shows in this huge mud pit, and they would sit in their campsite and sing TV show songs. They do Gilligan's Island, and nobody could go near them, and it was just a bunch of characters, but it was a really cool place to work.
That sounds
fantastic. Definitely check it out.
Fantastic. Oh, so where was this?
This was up in New York, in Sterling Forest.
Sterling Forest.
But it was, it's a long commute. But there is one in Virginia. I don't know where it is. I kind of got over it after 5 years.
Gotten over your winch days?
Yeah, you know. It's way too early for this dress.
That's so good. That's great. I love it. I wish I'd had a job
highly
like
recommend it.
Right on.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good day, guys.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
I would have loved that. I don't know. I think
I don't know if I would do the camping out thing, but
no, but can you imagine that kind of freedom when you're 16 years old? I would have just reveled in that.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I remember going to college. The first time having true freedom. That was fantastic. So at 16, I'm sure I would have gotten in some pretty good trouble there.
I would imagine so.
Because those people that go there
had you in those things where they had put people out in public and it has a sign under it
because I drank too much.
Yeah, right.
I wonder if they had people like that.
They had those things in Jamestown.
Yeah.
Or Williamsburg or something like that.
Jamestown, Williamsburg, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and there's pictures of me as a kid.
Really?
We visited.
That'd be great. Put your kid in there and then just take off, No, that would be mean.
No, they took a photo. They didn't take off, fortunately.
Wow. So
intoxicated or something. I don't remember what it said.
So any other jobs? Insurance and radio. Is that kind of
That's about it. There was times where I thought I might do something else, but no.
Yeah.
I haven't actually done anything else. Mostly radio, oddly enough.
Well, that's why you're a master at it.
I started.
You kind of have to stick with something to kind of master it.
Yeah, or you're stuck with it long enough. you have no choice but to get better or just stay bad.
Well, you must enjoy it, though.
I do. Well, like I said, I was in high school. I was a senior when I first got a job at Flo part-time.
Oh, okay.
I'll never forget. I met Dad brought me to the station, and
delinquency of a minor.
And I met Francis, and we sat in that little AM. It wasn't. It was actually the FM studio, but it was very small. It was like a closet.
That's exactly what Chris said yesterday.
And so I remember sitting there and talking with Francis, and I was nervous as all get out, but he gave me a chance, and I owe a lot of it to him.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's touched so many of our lives.
Yes, he has.
You're lucky to work with him.
Yep.
Yeah, I started working at 12. I was doing yard work at 12. I think at 14 I started working in a restaurant, doing washing dishes on the Sunday crowd thing. There's some bad. But I've done everything in a restaurant that you can do. Wait tables, dishwasher, cook, bartender, manager, because I worked in one of these small little steakhouse right under a hotel in Prescott. So, and that was fun. That was good money for a high school kid.
I bet.
And then I delivered flowers, during the afternoon before I'd go to work at the restaurant. It's just though my life sort of feels like a little burned out. Like I've been, you've been working since you're 12 years old. So you've been working 40, 50 years. And it's just like, I'm kind of feeling like I should do something else besides just work. But I don't know. I've had a good life. A lot of careers.
Yeah,
corporate America was a lot of fun, but a lot of stress. So it's well, Navy, electronics, aviation, blah blah blah, radio.
Definitely a jack of all trades.
Yeah, I was trying to even add up all the jobs. It's over 100 jobs. I was a dry cleaner in college and a pizza delivery job. Anything to make a buck, right? It was so I've had an interest.
That's interesting. I haven't had that many different jobs, and you've had a bunch. It's funny how.
And we both end up here. Yeah. And I'm sure
all that work paid off.
You're making more than I am. See, master of the trade.
He means I'm making a penny more.
Oh, the owners told us not to talk about finances anymore. Oh my goodness.
Well, radio is one of those things you have to love it to do it. It's definitely not for the money.
Yeah.
And that's almost common knowledge in the radio world.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
It's something unique about it. There's something, to me, it's the music and really the people make it all worthwhile.
It's just like any other job. You can enjoy it, but there are parts of it that are, like you said, stressful, and it's just like any other job in a sense of those sort of things. But there is something about it that you can't.
What's that fame, right?
I've always heard. Well, it's that wonderful fame that goes along with it. But there is that thing. If once you've done it, it's always there in you.
Yeah.
Even if you get out.
But that's like golf. It's the same way.
Okay.
Once you do it, you either love it or you don't. I mean,
yeah. I could see that.
I had that. I remember the first time I was like, I don't know, in my 40s, mid-40s.
Oh, you didn't start till then?
No, and I was just cruising around. I had just moved up to Northern California, so I was exploring, because that's what I love to do, is explore an area when I moved to it. I was like, I never hit a golf ball, really. So I went in there, and the third bucket of balls I went to get, the guy looks at me in the eyes, he smiles, he says, "Welcome to the game." I was done.
"Gambling's illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slice." Daggone it.
No.
Okay, you can. Yeah, that's it. Ty Webb.
We're way overdue.
We're having way too much fun.
We are. That's not a bad thing, I'm going to say. I should do some weather first, you think?
Go right ahead, my
right,
friend.
Function this. And the temperature went up 1 degree to 59 degrees. Humidity is 71%. Winds out of the north at 13 with gusts up to 18. So we're going to be a little windy today. Barometer is 30.09 inches. It's going to be mostly sunny, though, with a high of 71, and overnight mostly clear with a low of 44. Again, Friday, 71 is a high, mostly sunny, and low 48 overnight, mostly cloudy. Saturday is when the excitement comes in. Most of the day looks like it's going to be nice, but 40% chance of showers later on with a high of 67. On Saturday night, it looks like a 60% chance of showers all through the night, really, and into Sunday, showers likely with a high of 69. Sunday night, again, 60% chance of showers with a low of 56, and Memorial Day looks like about a 50% chance of showers, 40% chance of showers. I don't know. High of 74. I looked on another forecast, and it looked like the rain was really kind of going out Sunday. But,
okay.
So I'd say, keep an eye on the forecast. Don't cancel your fun activities quite yet. And it is now time for the birthdays. Actually, it's overtime.
All right, and it is May 25th. Hey, I can actually see that far now. Actually, it's the up close that I was having an issue with. And you know what? I picked a good day to have to fill in.
Oh, yeah?
There's one birthday.
Wow.
Today.
How special.
Because there's none on this list for the 25th. There's none on this list for the 25th, but the calendar has one.
And now everybody knows we have like 3 lists to get to.
that we go back and forth with. All right, so Thursday, May 25th, the year 2023, and happy birthday going out to Carolyn Dews. Carolyn Dews. She's paid her dues.
Happy birthday, Carolyn. Hope you have a great day. It's a good day for you.
DEWS.
The 25th.
And if today is your day, and we don't know about it, happy birthday, happy anniversary.
Yeah. I've got certain anniversaries on the 25th myself. So this is a good day. Oh, just, this, that, and the other thing.
This, that, and the other?
Yeah, my dad was born on this day. So
okay.
I kind of miss him. No, not kind of. I miss him a lot. And it's been almost 20 years since he passed away. That's amazing to me. Anyway, that's a sad thing. I didn't mean to bring sadness into it.
That's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
bringing the love, too. I miss both of them. When my mom passed, it was kind of, I had the sense that the two of them are out there having a great time. You do what you do. Everybody's got a different idea of what happens afterwards.
Right.
But it just gives me some kind of comfort that, hey, they're having fun. They're enjoying it. So, hey. So, have you ever had the sense that like everybody can read your thoughts? Like you're the only one that can't read the thoughts, and everybody else.
That I do attest to. I cannot. Some people I can, and then there's some I can't.
Yeah,
and it's always the ones that I wish I could that I can't.
Of course,
yeah.
It always has to work that way.
Usually girls I dated. I was like, "What are you?"
Yeah. Well, it's a strange sensation. I mean, I'm glad I grew out of it, but it was kind of a young, paranoid type of thing where,
I guess so.
We're all trying to find our way in the world. And since I never stayed any place long enough, it just kind of it grew and said, hey, everybody can read your mind, but you can't read.
Can you read my mind?
I can now, and that's not a pretty thought. I'm getting out of here. It's dark and lonely. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Let's see. If you were trapped in a comedy...
In a comedy?
Would you rather be trapped in a comedy with enemies or trapped in a horror movie with your friends? That's some thought-provoking.
With my enemies. Well, if I was in a comedy and had enemies, as long as I was getting the upper end, like say a Bugs Bunny or or the Marx Brothers or the Stooges, then I'd have a quite good time.
Sorry, you are Wile E. Coyote.
Genius.
Yeah.
I think I'd go that route. If I was the one that could, like a true comedy, be, I guess you would call the hero. The character that is the comedic type, but seems to never. They get away with everything. I guess that if it was one of those types of comedies, I would rather have that. Horror films, they're okay, but. Really wasn't my thing.
I don't watch horror films anymore. Maybe there's a touch of it here or there, but I
don't watch the newer ones. I can tell you that. I don't know. There was a charm to the older ones.
Freddy Krueger type of.
Well, even those, there's a charm, but I don't go back and revisit them.
Friday
much.
the 13th.
Yeah, I mean, those were all kind of neat when you were a kid.
I didn't even find them neat as a kid. I thought them all.
What I mean is the more so the movies. Not so much the movies, the fantasy of it, or the character. They were almost like, to me, they were almost like supervillains or something like that. That's the way I looked at them.
I can sort of see that,
especially Krueger, because it was all
right.
Dreams and all this other crazy stuff going on. But like I said, looking back at it now, I don't revisit any of it, so it must have not had that much of a connection to me as a kid. Yeah,
I just never really enjoyed them, and I don't know. I think part of it is that it drove me crazy how stupid people were. It's like this would never ever happen, and I can't give myself the imagination to let it be that way.
There definitely has to
stupid.
Be a suspension of disbelief.
I love sci-fi. I love sci-fi and anything along that line.
I like sci-fi to a degree. I don't like every. Some people, it's like westerns. If you say, I like westerns, they think you like every single western that was ever made.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's like sci-fi to me is the same thing. I don't love every sci-fi thing. I like certain ones for sure.
I love how literal you are. There are solid lines.
Right there is.
And if you're graying it, don't be gray. No.
I don't know. It's
no,
like,
John.
You must like Shane. No, I do not like Shane. I am not a Shane. Shane! That kid needs to go somewhere.
So, what's your favorite movie?
Of all time or
and genre?
Specific genre?
Well, both. Yeah. Name your favorite in each genre. Because actually, I've got one that covers all genres.
Well, if you've got it, go ahead.
Well, I've watched this movie lately, and it's just not what it used to be to me. You know how you watch a
You mean
film,
it's lost some of its luster?
Yeah. It was made in the 80s, but it's Bruce Willis. It was Fifth Element. I loved that movie. That was
90s, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was action, adventure, sci-fi, romantic comedy. It had everything inside
I know what you're saying, because I don't go back and watch that one anymore. But the ones I do that were based on the future before the future actually got here. Stuff like The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, I can see that.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
as a kid, I loved it, and I still have a affection for it if I go back and watch it. That one has not lost anything with me over the course of time.
It's kind of sci-fi, action, adventure.
In a way. I mean, we've already passed the era that it was predicting. And sadly enough, funny, like RoboCop's another one. RoboCop, I can watch that.
Really interesting.
The first one.
Okay, it is better than the other one.
Yes. I was never much for the sequels, but the first one, even with its quirky special effects and some some parts. Some of it looks still pretty good, but there are some stop motion things with the Ed 209 machine and all that. But that's the best they could do then. But that movie is so dark as far as it's got its comedic moments, but what's going on? It's very violent film.
Well, that one's based off of a book, I'm pretty sure, and
maybe so. I'm not sure.
And I don't know. I have a tendency to like a movie that's based on a book because that normally means that they've actually developed the characters.
Well, I know The Running Man was actually Bachman, whatever the name is that Stephen King used before he started using the name Stephen King. It was like a short story. It was a collection. I remember discovering that somewhere after I had seen it.
Okay.
A friend of mine who did a lot of reading and loved Stephen King, he told me about it. He's like, that was Randy or Bachman or something. I feel like I'm saying the guy from Bachman Turner Overdrive.
I know. That's the first thing that triggered me. It shows that
so it's probably
not
Randy Bachman, but whatever his name that he was using at the time, his pen name or whatever you call
maybe
it.
Some people out there would call in and let us know what their favorite genre
But from what I understand,
is.
the story is way darker than the movie was. Like the main character that like Arnold plays doesn't survive the game and all this other stuff, and it's interesting.
Yeah, that was bizarre. Our number here is 434-394-0924. If you've got a favorite movie you want to let us in on, and activities that's happening, genres that we should consider.
Trivia for you on that. The guy that directed the film, Starsky from Starsky and Hutch.
Really?
Paul Michael Glazer.
Starsky and Hutch. That's another...
He didn't originally start directing it. They got rid of the original director, and he came in and basically finished it up. Yeah. I thought he did a good job. Like I said, there's a charm to that film. Now, granted, it's probably rose-colored glasses a little bit because I watched it as a kid. But
I see them tinting right now.
They're supposed to.
Did you pick? What color did you pick for the tint?
I didn't, so I don't know if they're true tint or not.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen them tint.
I don't think they. I thought they were going to, but I don't think
we're gonna have to send you outside, lay in the street for a while. They'll probably turn red, but no. Oh my!
I don't mind if it's red.
We've been considering some different ideas to do on this Call Flo Show to get people a little bit more input and everything. So I was looking up some different possible games to play.
It's the dating game.
Yeah. Oh, there's this one, matching nines. Cola dollar bill. I have no idea what this really means. So the Cola bill runs. Players must have $1 bill with 3 nines in the serial number. The nines don't need to be in exact order. When the host opens the calls, they select the 19th caller who has confirmed that they have the bill. Later, they must present it at the radio station to claim their $100 prize.
Well, there's a problem there.
Yeah?
We don't have $100 to give away.
This is a good point. Yeah. So maybe you could be a wench and go make it for it.
We already spoke with the wench.
Cola Radio. Kola Radio Roulette. For this, the radio game, also on Cola Radio, listeners first play for a spot on a weekly roulette game. If the player qualifies for a second round, they receive a random number. On Friday, the roulette wheel at the local casino is spun. If the number hits listeners' assigned number, they get a chance to win up to $3,000.
Why can't we play match game or something like that? I can be Rich Dickie Dawson like I've always wanted to be.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
And then we can have that awesome music playing in the background.
I love a good bass line, that's for sure.
That was some great bass in that music.
Well, we were talking about maybe a question, impossible question, or an easy question. I don't know. Have people. So that could be an interesting thing. And the reason I kind of bring it up, I thought maybe somebody out there might have an idea of what kind of game would work in Farmville.
Pin the tail on the donkey.
And the number is 434-394-0924. All right.
Nimble, where's the thimble? And whatever else I can think of off the top of my head.
Oh, my.
Musical chairs, maybe.
Oh, my. This is one thing I learned from the Amish people. You just get yourself a little tag and you say it, oh, my. Oh, my.
Oh, my.
I see.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
My mom used to tell this joke that I can't tell on the air, but I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an inside joke.
So, yeah. Let's see. Another question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you prefer living in the ocean, like in the ocean, under the ocean, or in outer
like a Bond villain,
or outer space?
Gee, neither one sounds all that appealing to me. Like on a space station or something?
Well, yeah.
There's no other way to do it.
Well, yeah, you can.
Same thing for underwater.
You can choose the environment, I suppose.
I don't know, man.
If it was the same environment for both.
I'm not too crazy about either one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think being under the ocean would be not under the ocean, but deep in the ocean. Might as well get it correct before somebody calls up and
under the ocean
corrects me. You're on the mental, huh? Oh, okay. The practical side of that is that you would be able to have food. You know, you could go out, eat kelp, fish, and stuff
but I don't
that.
like seafood. So.
You know, but if you're starving, I'm pretty sure you'll eat
more
something.
than likely. I guess I would. Yeah,
maybe some fish and chips.
That, or I'd just be nice and thin, like I've always wanted to be.
Yeah, just like me.
Although like you.
I've always wanted to be in space, but then you're talking, you know, I don't know, weightlessness.
I guess let's say the scenario is you can live. You know, meaning eat and survive in either situation. If that was the case, without any, you know, possibility of dying from starvation, maybe space. Only because I don't know. The thing about drowning in water,
I have that too.
Yeah, that sort of thing. I'm not too crazy about it. And then again, though, there's no air in space, so if you get a leak there, you're going to run out of oxygen.
It's faster, though, I think.
Might be. I don't know. I can't say. I've never.
It's just like, you know, on TV they show it all the time,
and whatever show on TV has got to be right.
Just that look on their face. It's like, oh no, I don't have any air.
But to be perfectly, neither one for me. I don't know. I'm just. But between the two, I'd probably pick space.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive that I would go that direction also.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not even big about the ocean in general, so it's kind of like
that drowning fear. I think is kind of grown over the years, and we went on that cruise. Right. I could barely get to the edge of the deck. We had a little little platform outside of our. I can't think of the word. Little deck. I guess deck is good enough. Balcony, thank you.
No, you did it yourself.
I was thanking myself. Okay.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Larry. I don't know what it is, man. These weird fears get worse in age in some ways, and then other fears are just go away. I don't know what or how you control those.
I think. I mean, drowning is one, but for me, it's probably the height. I'm not much on heights.
Yeah.
But it's only because my balance isn't all that great.
You seem like you would have a good low center of gravity.
You would think, but I don't.
You don't?
Well, let's put it this way. I'd never had a great one to begin with, and then once I had some tinkering done, we shall say, I think it affected my balance a bit.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Let's put it this way: I was never good on roller skates or skateboard. I could ride a bike without a problem, but anything where I wanted to be able to do that stuff, but every time I got on one, whoop.
Yeah, I had a difficult time too. My torso's too tall, and so my center of balance is off.
You would think as low to the ground as I am, I wouldn't have a problem. But
you'd think there was a guy, Dakota Scoots. Who was the world champion, literally for scooters, and he was amazing. And my son got into it, and so I started to get into it myself too. They kicked me out of a couple of parks because I built this bigger scooter, you know, and I didn't know that the rules of it were that wheels can only be like 4 inches or something.
Right.
Like that. Mine were like 10 inches. We had the best parks in California. I mean, it was just like in Marin. Boy, I loved doing that stuff, but it was always a little tough. And man, if I hadn't had a helmet a few times, I'd definitely be dead. And then my son, finally, he fell once, and it was painful enough that he didn't ever want to do it again.
I can understand that.
Yeah, we saw some kid just go crunch, and his front teeth were all... Oh, this is not...
Yeah, my thing about skating was always falling and hitting my head, which I did one time, but not by skating. I was running and came across a patch of ice, and the next thing I know, feet were in the air, and my head came crashing down on the ice, and I thought I split my head open. I mean, it felt that bad. The pain was just immense.
I can feel it.
Yeah, it was rough.
Do you have that sensation? I call it kind of vertigo, but it's not vertigo. It's that when people fall on TV, I feel it. Do you do that? Like,
it depends on what the fall looks like. I've seen certain movies where you can tell that was not as planned. You know, when you watch it, it's there was a stunt I remember Burt Reynolds did in a movie, and he basically jumps from a high position onto a tree to grab a limb, and he didn't catch himself. And so you're seeing what it actually looks like when a body just goes straight down without any stoppage of any kind, or the stoppage you were looking for. And
did he bounce?
He hit the ground like a ton of bricks. I mean, it looked rough.
Yeah, that's something that's gotten a little more intense.
But people like that sort of thing, they'll watch these videos of people hurting themselves doing very dumb things. You've seen it.
I seek them out. So, fail army.
You're one of them.
Fail army, man. It's just like you got to get yourself something.
And I'll watch them a little, but I don't get off on it. But yeah, I'll just sit there and go, "What were you thinking?"
Yeah, exactly. There's another one that there's a few different kinds. You know, the ones that they stop it right before like somebody gets munched. You know, it's like, oh no. I think, and this is maybe a little sick, but one of my favorite things on a movie or a show is when the bad guy's like standing in a street and a bus just flies by and takes him out, because it's not that they're getting hurt. It's because it's so sudden and so you know, when it's unexpected, it's even better. It's just like, oh, you know. Yeah. You got those cringe-worthy moments. What's your best cringe-worthy moment?
Cringe-worthy? I don't know.
Oh, my son loves to. Yeah, he loves to say, "Oh, that's cringe. That's so cringe." Oh,
I'm sure I have some, but right off the top of my head, I can't think of any.
So, what would you rather have? I asked Chris this yesterday. Okay. Would you rather have the internet or heat and cooling?
Oh, heat and cooling. I've lived life without both, and I can tell you which one it was a lot easier to live without.
I would take the internet. I swear I would. You know, I'd move to a nice clement weather and. Yeah. Anyway, that's just about our time for the day. Hey, thank you for being out there. You're listening to WFLO. John's going to stay in here.
I'm afraid so.
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 In here.
I'm afraid so.